'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, except for Tom. That son of a bitch. He's technically a creature, so he's allowed to roam about. Welcome back to a holly jolly Creepypasta Storytime, and this season I think I may have something special or stupid for you. You see, one time in a video I mentioned how easy it is to write these terrible stories, as in, the bad stories that I read. And someone left a comment saying, well, it's not as easy as it is to read them, to which I'm going to call that bluff, and I'm going to do both. So I read a story, Welcome to Hell, Merry Christmas.exe, trademark original holiday, a Yuri of Wind production. I, was the biggest fan of Christmas. Everyone around town called me the King of Christmas. I didn't even know why. But, they would hold parades in my honor, of being the expert master of Christmas for some reason, but the burden of the title was too much, resulting in me ditching town and starting a new life somewhere else, in a different town, somewhere quiet. Little did I know, though, I didn't know a lot, and there's no escaping your past. I arrived in a quiet mountain town called New York City. The streets were made of gold and littered with garbage everywhere. I knew this would be the perfect place to embrace my new life and leave that holly jolly past behind me. I settled into a nice apartment and began indulging in my secret interest, Kamen Rider. They called me the Kamen Rider Master, but that was many years ago. But they were buggish people fighting evil. Quite frankly, I couldn't get enough of it. Things were going great until I noticed that one of the writers for the soon-to-be new season of Kamen Rider was named Tom Coon. And, I had known a Tom in the past, mind you. Weird bastard. He just kind of ran around town screaming about how great Sonic was, and letters, and old people, how he was best friends with this guy named Kyle. And that guy had to get a restraining order on it. And then that restraining order led to everyone in town getting a restraining order. So he was pretty much locked inside his house after that point. And the only way he could communicate with the outside world was by writing bad stories and Notepad and putting them on the internet and getting really mad when people didn't like him for some reason. It's worth noting, none of them were good. I know, I read them all. And rumor has it, he was also a sick fuck who hated Christmas. Knowing I was in the same town with that loser was one of the reasons I had to leave. It was lowering property values every day. But surely this writer for the new season of Rider couldn't be Tom, because I chuckled out loud. Fuck that guy. I went to sleep, and the following night on Saturday, I watched the first episode of the new season, but the show was simply called Kamen rider.exe. I couldn't help but shudder in horror. They must have hired this hack, I thought. But no, I reassured myself. After all, he could barely write English, let alone speak it, or Japanese. Maybe the show will be good, and Tom Coon is just an alias of someone who actually has talent. It opened in a forest, full of fruit. It was Kamen Rider Gone 2. But while the camera was panning, suddenly a blue blur flashed by the screen. I was pretty scarred by this. It should be scared, but I'm making it scarred. See? It's just like a regular creepypasta. But yes, very scarred, as blurry things scar me always. Actually, no, they scare me. I've changed that other one to scare, so now it's scar and scare. That's double points on this. Yet, I knew I had to keep watching Kamen Rider. I couldn't stop, even though I was afraid, because I gotta see how the belt works this year. Come on! Suddenly, though, a cut to the city, where it almost had an early Heisei vibe. Maybe late Showa, that weird period in the 90s. Kamen Rider Shin was a movie. Anyways, the dark blue blur appeared again, moving in a circle so fast. All I could see was a circle moving real fast, and in the middle of the circle was two eyes, two red eyes. His red, hyper-realistically bloody red, bloody blood malt, red, scary, bloody milkshake blood, realistic red bloody eyes blood. He outstretched both hands like Frieza, and suddenly Sonic plushies flew in all directions, attacking the defenseless citizens. On one hand, it was really dumb. On the other, those plushies sure are scary. Then, Sonic, he looked like he was looking at me with looks. There's no use. You can't escape. I'm talking through a TV screen. I was horrified and smashed the TV with the bat. There, that'll show you plushy monsters. I'm going to bed. That was company property, I think. I didn't actually think that. Whatever. And so I did. But I never expected what I would see when I awoke. On my walk to work, at the work factory of working, of being great at stuff and things, and being neurotic, where I was vice president, and everyone thought I was super cool, especially my girlfriend from Canada, who she said she can't be in this story legally, but she's totally real, and, you know, I just figured I'd let everyone know that that's a real thing, it's real and stuff. And also, you know, I figured I'd get a drink on the way to work, so I went to a gas station where drinks are born. And to go pick one up, I stopped by the door, and I saw a tall individual with blue skin for some reason. I'm not going to question it. It's not brought up again in the story. But he pointed to a sign that said, "No shirt, no shoes, no Sonic plushies, no service." I was offended. I had forgotten my shoes. And also, I didn't have Sonic plushies. Why would I? Why would you need one? Just to buy a soda. I tried to explain to the individual that, you know, I forgot the shoes, and I'm sorry about that. And I know I don't have a Sonic plushie, but could I buy a drink, please? Because, you know, I don't know how that's obstructing it. Maybe the shoes thing. But the man grew very angry and spin dashed into me, knocking my coins. Wait, no, it is coins. They're not rings in the story. I'm going to refer to them as coins because it'll drive someone insane. Not all my coins. If I don't have at least one, I die. Beyond anything else, this situation left me feeling quite offended yet again, and bleeding internally. Sad and rejected, I just headed off to work. While typing up the official work of working and stuff, I figured during my downtime, I would use office hours to watch Kamen Rider at work. I never did finish that first episode because of the TV smashing thing, but luckily we have a bunch of TVs at work, so that works out. And also, I figured, you know, I just finish it up, buy the belt, and get it over with. Last thing I need is another backlog. And so I watched and waited for when the attractive Japanese individual would arrive on the scene, saying henshin, their hair blowing through the wind. And then engaging in some anime-style fight sequence with over-the-top action. When he appeared, though, my excitement was at an all-time high when suddenly he was shot, failing to the ground. It's supposed to be falling, but I changed it. Authenticity. Bleeding out. I thought, wow, the CGI is really great this season. Suddenly, though, the would-be bullet stood up. It wasn't a bullet at all. It was a Sonic plushie who looked right at the camera and smiled the most evil smile. I mean, its mouth couldn't move because it was a plushie, and there's no articulation there, but I could tell it was smiling right at me, and I was terrified, but I had to keep looking. The feed went to static, and I sat there in shock, glued to the screen. I'll never stop looking. All I had wanted this year for Christmas was some good old-fashioned Kamen Rider action, but this was terrible. It was sad. It was the worst knockoff episode of Law & Order I'd seen since Sonic.exe 2. And maybe the other ones, I'm not gonna check. That's when I knew my greatest fears had obviously come true. Tom had gotten a writing job on the show, obviously lying about their credentials. I mean, that's the only explanation for it. And being such a large fan of the series, almost as much as Christmas and my expertise with it, I couldn't stand for this. So first, I sat down. Then I realized I had to save my favorite show, and so I went to ask my boss for a raise and time off at the same time to go to Japan to break into Toei Studios and fix the series A Simple Plan, or at least I thought it would be, maybe. As I entered my boss's office, something seemed amiss. The walls were filled top to bottom with phrases that you would find out of the 90s or something. Sega does what Nintendo don't. We have blast processing and it's a real thing, we swear. Don't worry about the copyright protection on the Dreamcast. That's not going to be an issue. And then one that just says, oh God, please buy the 32X. It all seemed like crazy talk. I uttered my boss's name. Sanshiro, sir? The chair spun around really fast, like a cyclone, and I was in horror and in shock. It's supposed to be shock. I'm letting you know about the typos, but I was scared, scary, spookies, as it was a well-dressed individual in a black suit, white gloves, and a giant fucking head. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Why didn't I notice that earlier and instead focused on the suit? But Nani, I said aloud, where's the boss? And where are you doing here? Supposed to be what? He stared me down, though, with eyes that were giant. Real eyes that looked at me in a hyper way. Almost realistic in a way I can't even describe. They were almost hyper realistic. Not quite. Not quite. I don't want to go that far, but if they all a little bit. But they were big fucking eyes. I will give them that. They were giant. I didn't like them. And sometimes they were just one giant eye. It was weird. But his mouth opened and uttered the words, "What do you think you're doing here, you pleb?" "Don't you pleb me," I said. "I don't have to take that from a character whose quality ranges from amazing to complete dog shit with zero in between, seemingly sometimes. Why is that? He extended his hand, which engulfed me in darkness. I was scared, but I did not try and escape. I did wrap a safety blanket around me, but I did not try and escape. I had to see this through. That's the only way to solve issues. But suddenly, I awoke. Only it wasn't the place where I was awake before, and was instead a place of work at the work factory in a different country. A country called Kamen Rider World, which is comprised of like a couple of locations that Toei generally like to film at. And maybe some more expensive locations they might film at, but they're expensive. But yeah, they can live in Kamen Rider World. After reenacting some scenes from different seasons for about 2 or 3 hours, I knew I had to escape. But how? The sky turned dark when I said how. That's the magic word, apparently. I think I hit the mic. I'm gonna feel like an idiot. I'm an idiot. But the sky turned dark is the main point here, as dread seemingly engulfed me in its entirety. Behind me, in a cold tone, I heard the phrase, Henshin. It was not someone attractive, though, but instead, it was Tom and Sonic, who had donned the role of Kamen rider.exe with an army of plushies that, you can only buy at Premium Bandai. On pre-sale now, they'll be shipped to you in half a year. And he stared me down. So, he said, you claim you're the master of Christmas. You thought you could escape me, leave me in the past, but here I am, and now I'll end you once and for all. That's when it occurred to me, this wasn't Sonic, 'cause he's not a real character. It was clearly Tom, who had gained the spirit of Sonic and became Kamen rider.exe, which is all real, by the way. I'm not making any of this story up. It all actually happened. I knew my fate was sealed. There was no way I could fight back. I mean, I may be technically main character of the story, but I'm not nearly important main character enough or pretty for Bandai to make me a Kamen Rider suit or a belt. So, I began to accept my fate when suddenly I heard Mateo, and at the speed of light he appeared, holding a giant Sega Saturn on his back. I'd recognize him anywhere. My boss, always running around with Sega Saturns. It was Sagata Sanshiro. The two stared each other down. Tom Sonic scoffed. Old man, Oji-san, do you really think you can defeat me, god of creepypastas that aren't very good, and also an easily offended furry individual? Don't even try and complain about anything I've done, because I will complain about you back on the internet, and someone's gonna read it, maybe. Don't make me do it, Sanshiro. Well, whatever you want to be called, man. Gotta call you Kamen Rider. You're a Kamen Rider. A lot of people don't know that. You're the first one. But Sanshiro's not your name. Sanshiro, though, placed the Saturn on the ground with a blank expression and suddenly unleashed a flurry of attacks that Tom couldn't see coming. Every move Tom tried, it was countered. Tom, growing frustrated at his own mediocrity, unleashed a desperate attack. He hired someone to shoot a missile back in the past to destroy the Dreamcast and make sure that it would never come out ever. And then it would ruin Sega forever and they'd have to make console games. Oh, wait. It would have happened earlier. But Sanshiro being superhuman and practically fictional, not only traveled back in time, but he stopped the rocket with his bare hands. He managed to change its course into space, saving us all, but at the cost of his own life. We all mourned him for many, many years. He may not have gotten many people to buy a Saturn, but he was my boss, and also the first Kamen Rider. I don't know how I would move on with Christmas life going forward. Truly, Christmas was ruined, and I hit a button by accident. See, Christmas is ruined. Soon after that, Tom was arrested. Yeah, he just was. He only had one missile for the plan, so they defeated him pretty easily, actually. He didn't really have any other backup plans. It actually turned out the Kamen Rider outfit didn't do anything. There's some special effects, but what are you gonna do? It did give me some relief, though. But after this national tragedy here in New York, I just couldn't wait for the holiday season to be over. And after all, it would never be the same again. December 25th came along, a sadness still weighing down on my soul, when suddenly we got an unexpected guest. It was Santa Claus. The children were very excited. I'm not sure why they randomly appeared in the plot. It's probably to go along with the clip. But still, yay, Santa Claus. That's pretty neat. It's a thing. I walked up to old Saint Nick and was about to wish for the only thing I wanted this year. A real Kamen Rider belt. And maybe for my boss to be revived or Christmas or something. That's when Santa pulled off his face to reveal that he actually had another face underneath and was Sagata Sanshiro, who, after exploding in space, became Santa Claus. Makes sense. Over the next few hours, we would walk the streets, telling people to buy a Sega Saturn and attacking them without mercy. The Sega Saturn wasn't even being sold in stores anymore at this point. I'm not sure why he wanted to do that. But after we made the rounds, he sat down with me and said, "You can't escape Christmas. Whether you're the master of it or some normie like me. Because at the end of the day, Christmas exists within your heart. And there's no throwing that away. Not without dying, if we're doing literally. So, no go now. No go now. Be the master of Christmas." I beamed and left to enjoy the day as King Christmas. 10 minutes after leaving the house, I fell into a pit Tom had dug and was surrounded by Sonic plushies. But, utilizing the power of Christmas, it didn't even bother me. I mean, the fall really hurt, and one of the plushies stabbed me when I wasn't looking. But other than that, this had to have been the bestest Christmas ever. And I hope this is the bestest Christmas ever for you also, although I highly doubt it, because what the fuck did I just do? This is my bullshit Creepypasta Storytime. Merry Christmas. Oh God, thank you for watching. Hello everyone, I have a cold, so I'm sorry about that, because you have to hear my voice. Welcome back to End Slate, where it's a Christmassy, holly jolly kind of slate of ending the end slates, because it's, well, right now it's Christmas Eve, and then tomorrow's Christmas, and YouTube will send this video to approximately no one. Especially not on these days. They seem like bad days to upload. But I'm doing it anyways, because fuck it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. Not just this year, but all these years. The support all this time really does mean the world. Maybe I'll do a video talking about those thoughts at another time, because I do have a lot of them. But right now, I would like to do some thank yous, if you don't mind. Thank the lovely people who support me on Patreon. You're all really nice. Just throwing that out there. And also the people who come to my streams are also very nice. You're also nice! And I know I said that maybe combatively, but I meant it in a good way. You're so nice. You know it. Thank you, Maji, and Chandler Parrish, and Kiki Erzabet, and Michaela, and Rage Magic Carp, and Rabbit, and Skinny720, and I'm going to say Storm already, because I already looked through the list, and I didn't see your name again, dude. And it's I know it's there, but I don't know. Also, thank you, Shadow. Again, I didn't see your name either. But thank you, Bradley Harder, and thank you, Klodek. Thank you, Fernando Silva. Thank you, Glad Goku. Hey, it's Brad. Lily Starflame, Michael Holder II, Nolan Billings, Cedars, PhD, Static Peaches, the Epiman, Uke, A Pickle, Anal Bag, Andrew Silverman, an Evil Ghost. Oh! Did this story have an evil ghost in it? I think I forgot to put one in. Oh well. We'll live. That ghost won't. Thank you, Angel Bane, and oh god, I lost my spot. That's not a person. I just lost my spot like an idiot. Hey, it's Wendy. This is professional. Thank you, Anthony Saucedo, and Astro Antonio, and Orange, and Butter Pecan, and Captain Loser, and Creepy Chin Clive. Yes, there was a little tiny dot in front of your name, and now it's gone. Thank you, Da Blue Fool, who last time I referred to as a foot, which is a completely different thing, so I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Dark Shadow Heart? Yeah, I almost said Hwart. The W and the H threw me off. Thank you, Derek Chapman, Dez, A.K. Is That So, Dylan Swenson, Elfrey 684, Fading Novelty Mug, Finn the Human. Slow response time on my part. Thank you, Joe Mortfolio, John Mayer, John Paul Hoare, Kami Moon, Keitaro, Lauren, Lenny Barks, Link the 8th, Ludwig, Miss K and the Cool Kids, Mythical Munchkin, Nikki Layman, Orfano, the Adoptable. Someone very adoptable. Go out and do it. Thank you, Painful Choice, and Purin, which is Japanese for Jigglypuff, but the Chinese version's Fat D, so that's hilarious. Thank you, Quack, Radar, Sarah Salmon, Coloranian. Thank you, Scarlet Robin. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Scott Labar, Sean Cartar, Shillick, Sir Doodles a lot, Slickster Max Tastica, SMK, Snooper, Soft Shell, The Class Changing Taco, The Prince of Ravens, The Wheels in the Bus Go Die Die Die. It's not safe, but damn it if it's not entertaining. Thank you, The Club Rocker, the Game Merchant. Sorry, I thought that was a different username. And also thank you, Merchant, for modding the Discord now, and thank you, Ragnar, for your years of service. Godspeed. And also Merry Christmas. Thank you, the Red 9 and RE4. Do I hope that's the best Christmas of all? You're so OP. Have a good time. Lost my spot again. Thank you, Tim Klomp, Trevor Marquez, Zachary Alexander, and everyone who supports me on Patreon or in any way. It's really appreciated from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all. Especially when you don't feel you deserve it. That's more of an imposter syndrome thing. So there's nothing I can do about that. 'Cause my brain's broke. But yeah. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. Or a Merry Christmas Eve. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, some other holiday, or maybe just have a nice Sunday, huh? Maybe. Stay safe, everyone. You should, holiday weather. The weather up here has been like really snowy and kind of shitty. But yeah, stay safe. Merry Christmas. Love you all. And until next time, I'll see you again next time on a video or a stream or an end slate or something. Ta-ta.